Be me. 29. Feminist CEO of a robotics startup. Raised $4.2 million in Series A. Built entire company identity around gender equity in STEM. Profile in Forbes titled, "She's Building the Future Without Men." Gave TED Talk about dismantling the bro culture in engineering. Every hiring decision I make is about proving a point. That women don't need men to build world-class technology. That the only reason tech is male-dominated is systemic oppression. That given equal opportunity, women outperform men every single time. Company's doing okay. 12 employees. All women, except for one guy in customer support. His name's David. He's been here since the beginning. I keep him around because investors like seeing we don't discriminate. But internally, I tell the girls he's just here to answer phones. We have weekly all-hands where I talk about our mission. We're not just building robots, we're building a movement. Everyone claps. I post the quotes on LinkedIn. Get 2.3 thousand reactions every time. Our engineering team is 4 women. Maya, 26, fresh out of grad school, top of her class at MIT. Priya, 28, former Google intern, left because of toxic culture. Jordan, 24, self-taught coder, really into astrology and tarot. Rox, 31, been coding since high school, super confident. I handpicked every single one. Turned down 40-plus male applicants to find them. I remember laughing with my co-founder about one guy's resume. 15 years of embedded systems experience, but he's probably just another mansplainer. We hired Maya instead. She had 6 months of internship experience. I told myself experience is overrated anyway. We land a huge contract. $850,000 project with a logistics company. They want autonomous warehouse robots. Custom navigation, real-time object detection, the whole thing. Timeline is aggressive. 9 months to MVP, 12 months to production. I'm confident. Tell the client we've got the best team in the industry. He's skeptical, asks about our engineering background. I say, our lead engineer graduated top of her class from MIT. Don't mention she's never shipped a production system. He signs anyway. Week 1, kickoff meeting. I give a speech about how we're going to prove women can outperform any male engineering team. Everyone's hyped. Maya's leading the project. She's smart, no doubt. But she keeps saying, I think we should research this more. Every decision is followed by, let me look into best practices. I tell her, trust your instincts. You're brilliant. She smiles, but I can see the doubt. Week 3, first sprint review. They've made some progress on the UI mock-ups. Navigation system isn't started yet. I ask why. Priya says, we're still debating the tech stack. Jordan wants to use this new framework she read about on Medium. Rox wants to stick with something proven. They've been in Slack arguments for days. I say, just pick one and move forward. They all nod. Next week, still debating. David, the support guy, stops by my office. Says, hey, I used to do some embedded systems work if the team needs help. I cut him off. We're good, David. The engineering team has it covered. He nods, walks out. I text Maya. If David tries to mansplain the project to you, just ignore him. She replies, lol will do. Month 2. Client wants a progress update. I ask Maya for a demo. She says, we're not quite ready for a demo yet. I say, what do you mean? It's been 2 months. She explains they rebuilt the navigation module 3 times. First version was too slow. Second version had memory leaks. Third version just doesn't feel right. I ask about the object detection. Jordan says, I'm still learning TensorFlow. Pause. You're still learning? She says, yeah, I've done some tutorials, but production ML is different. I feel my stomach drop. Don't show it. Tell them, you've got this. Just keep pushing. I start working late. Checking GitHub commits. They're working, I can see that. But the code is messy. Lots of comments like, Toto, fix this later, and not sure if this is right. I don't code anymore, haven't in years. But even I can tell this isn't production quality. Tell myself it's just the learning curve. First big project, makes sense? They'll figure it out. Month 3, Priya asks for a team meeting. Says, I think we need to bring in a senior engineer. My jaw clenches. We don't need to bring in anyone. You 4 are enough. Rox agrees with Priya. Look, I'm good at front end. But this embedded stuff is new to me. We're kind of all figuring it out as we go. Jordan nods. Yeah, maybe someone with experience could help us not waste time. I feel defensive. You're all capable. You just need to believe in yourselves. Maya's quiet. After the meeting, she stays back. Says, I'm really trying, but I feel like I'm drowning. I hug her. Imposter syndrome is real. Don't let it win. She nods, but her eyes look tired. That night, I can't sleep. Keep thinking about the client, about the deadline, about the $850,000 contract, about my TED Talk where I said women don't need men in tech, about the Forbes article, about the 2.3 thousand LinkedIn reactions. Tell myself it'll be fine. They're smart women. They just need time. Month 4. Client emails asking for a demo. I panic. Tell Maya we need something. Anything to show. She pulls an all-nighter. Gets a basic navigation demo working in a simulator. It's not real hardware, just a 3D model. But it moves. I schedule the demo call. Client joins. Maya shares her screen. Robot moves forward. Client says, okay, now show me object detection. Maya freezes. We're still integrating that module. Client, what about the real hardware test? We're focusing on software first. Hardware integration comes next. Sprint. Client doesn't look happy. Says, you're a third of the way through the timeline and you're still in simulation? I say, we're being thorough. Quality over speed. He says, you promised me the best team in the industry. Hangs up. I sit in my office. Door closed. Head in my hands. Maya knocks. Comes in crying. Says, I'm so sorry. I'm trying so hard. I tell her it's okay. But inside I'm screaming. Post on LinkedIn anyway. Progress isn't always linear. Trust the process. Trust your team. Get 1.8 thousand likes. I feel like a fraud. Month 5. We're falling further behind. Jordan admits she's overwhelmed. Says, I think I need to take a mental health break. I say, we're in the middle of a project. She starts crying. I know, but I can't sleep. I feel like I'm failing everyone. I let her take 2 weeks off. Now we're down to 3 engineers. Priya picks up Jordan's work, but she doesn't understand Jordan's code. Spends a week just reading through it. Says, I think we need to rewrite this whole module. I want to scream. David stops by again. Says, I don't mean to overstep, but I heard you're behind schedule. I used to work on autonomous systems at a robotics firm before this. If you want, I could take a look, maybe help troubleshoot. I'm about to say no, but I'm desperate. I say fine. Talk to Maya. He nods. Next day, David's in a meeting room with Maya and Rox. I walk by, see him at the whiteboard, explaining something about sensor fusion. They're taking notes. I feel weird, like I'm watching my thesis crumble. Later, Maya says David's really helpful. He found 3 bugs in like an hour. I just nod. Don't know what to say. Month 6. Client threatens to pull the contract. Says, you're halfway through and you don't even have a working prototype. I'm starting to think you oversold your capabilities. I beg for more time. He says, 2 months. If you don't have hardware working by then, we're done. I hang up. Feel like throwing up. Emergency all-hands meeting. I tell everyone we need to crunch. Priya says, we're already working 60-hour weeks. Rox says, I haven't seen my girlfriend in a month. Jordan's back from her break, but she looks fragile. Says, I'll do my best. Maya's silent. I say, we can do this. We're strong, capable women. We don't need anyone's help. Nobody cheers this time. David sends me an email. Subject, thoughts on the project. I almost delete it, but I open it. He's written a whole breakdown. Lists every technical bottleneck. Suggests bringing in 2 senior engineers he knows. One specializes in embedded systems. One specializes in ML for robotics. Both have 10+ years of experience. He says, I know this isn't what you want to hear, but the team needs help. I close the email. Don't respond. That weekend, I'm at a Women in Tech conference, giving a talk about my company, about how we're proving women don't need men. Everyone claps. Someone asks, what's your biggest challenge so far? I pause. Want to say, we're failing and I don't know how to fix it. Instead, say overcoming bias from clients who doubt us. More applause. Feel sick. Month 7. Jordan quits. Says, I'm sorry, I can't do this anymore. I feel like I'm drowning and nobody's throwing me a lifeline. I try to convince her to stay. She just says, you hired me because I'm a woman, not because I was ready for this. I needed mentorship, not pressure. She leaves. Now we're down to 3. Maya comes to me. Says, I think we should hire David's friends. I say, absolutely not. She says, why? We're drowning. We need help. I say, because it proves them right. It proves we can't do it alone. She stares at me, says maybe we can't. I feel my chest tighten. Don't say that. She says, I'm just being honest. I'm a good engineer, but I'm not experienced enough for this. None of us are. We needed a senior engineer from day one, but you refused because they were all men. I don't respond. She walks out. I pull up the resumes I rejected. Scroll through them. 15 years embedded systems. 12 years robotics. 20 years manufacturing automation. All men. I rejected them all. Told myself they were overqualified. Told myself we didn't need them. Told myself women were better. Now I'm staring at a failing project, and I have nobody to blame but myself. Month 8. We're 3 weeks from the deadline. Still no working hardware. Client emails every other day. I stop responding. Priya breaks down in a meeting. Says, I can't do this anymore. I feel like a fraud. I left Google because I thought I was being held back. But maybe I was just at my level. Rox tries to comfort her. But I can see Rox is barely holding it together too. I finally respond to David's email. Say, set up a meeting with your friends. He says, are you sure? I say, just do it. Meeting with David's friends. Jake, 38, worked at Boston Dynamics. Lucas, 42, led autonomous vehicle teams at 2 different companies. They look at our code. Jake says, this is a good start, but you're about 6 months from production ready. I say, we have 3 weeks. Lucas laughs, then realizes I'm serious. Says, that's not possible. Not with this code base. I ask what we need. Jake says, a full rewrite of the navigation stack, proper sensor integration, and actual hardware testing. You'd need a team of 5 senior engineers working full-time. I say, what if we hire you two? Lucas says, we can help, but we can't perform miracles. Why didn't you bring in senior people from the start? I don't answer. David does. She wanted an all-female team. Jake nods slowly. Ah. The room goes quiet. I hire Jake and Lucas. They start immediately. Within 2 days, they've identified 30+ critical bugs. They work with Maya and Rox. I watch them collaborate. Jake's patient, explaining things. Lucas is direct but not mean. Maya's taking notes like crazy. Rox actually smiles for the first time in weeks. I feel relieved, and also devastated. Week 9. Jake and Lucas are working 80-hour weeks. They bring in another friend, Marcus, to help with ML. Now we have 3 senior male engineers and 3 junior female engineers. The dynamic has completely shifted. The guys are leading. The women are learning. It's working. But it's everything I said we didn't need. Client demo day. Jake's leading the presentation. Real hardware, real navigation, real object detection. It's not perfect, but it works. Client's impressed. Says, this is more like it. Glad you got your team sorted out. I just nod. After the call, Maya hugs Jake. Says, thank you for saving us. He says, you did the hard part. We just helped you cross the finish line. I know he's being nice. They did 70% of the work in 30% of the time. That night, I'm alone in the office, scrolling through my old LinkedIn posts. Women don't need men in tech. We're building the future without them. Trust women to lead. Every post feels like a lie now. I think about Maya's words. You hired me because I'm a woman, not because I was ready. Think about Jordan quitting. Think about Priya crying. Think about rejecting 40+ qualified male engineers. Think about almost losing an $850,000 contract. Think about how I put my ideology above my team's success. I draft a LinkedIn post. Sometimes the best team isn't about gender. It's about experience, mentorship, and collaboration. Stare at it for 20 minutes. Delete it. My followers would crucify me. I'd lose speaking gigs. I'd become the feminist who admitted she was wrong. Can't do it. Instead post. Grateful for my entire team's hard work on this project. Collaboration wins. Get 2.1 thousand likes. Feels hollow. Month 10. Project shipping. Clients happy. Jake, Lucas, and Marcus are still here. I offered them full-time positions. They accepted. Now my all-female engineering team is 50% male. I stop talking about it in interviews. When people ask, I say we hired the best people for the job. They nod. Nobody pushes back, because everyone knows what that means. Maya comes to my office. Says, I'm really grateful you brought in Jake and Lucas. I learned more in 2 months with them than I did in 2 years of grad school. I say, I should have done it sooner. She says, why didn't you? I pause. Want to say, because I was trying to prove a point. Instead say, I thought you were ready. She nods, but we both know I'm lying. I run into David in the kitchen. He's making coffee. I say, thank you for connecting me with Jake and Lucas. He says, no problem. I say, I should have listened to you earlier. He just shrugs. It's okay, I get it. I say, get what? He says, you were trying to prove something. I just wish it didn't almost cost everyone their jobs. Walks away. I stand there holding my empty mug. Next Women in Tech conference. I'm invited to speak again. Topic: building inclusive teams in STEM. I almost cancel, but I go. Stand on stage. Look at the audience. All women, all nodding along. I start my speech. Talk about hiring practices. About creating opportunities. About believing in women. But I don't mention the project. Don't mention hiring Jake, Lucas, Marcus. Don't mention Maya's breakdown. Don't mention Jordan quitting. Don't mention almost losing everything. Just talk about empowerment and breaking barriers. Standing ovation. Feel like a fraud. Back at the office. Watching Jake teach rocks about embedded systems. Watching Lucas mentor Maya on architecture. Watching Marcus help Priya with ML pipelines. They're good teachers. Patient, thorough, not condescending. Everything I said male engineers would never be. I was wrong about a lot of things. Late night, scrolling through Twitter. See thread. Why are there so few women in engineering? Hundreds of replies. Sexism. Toxic bro culture. Women aren't given opportunities. I start typing. Maybe we also need to make sure we're hiring based on experience, not just gender. Stare at it. Delete it. Not ready for that conversation. Board meeting. Investors are happy. Project shipped on time, barely. Clients talking about a second contract. One investor says, looks like you finally got your team figured out. I say, yeah, we did. He says, smart move bringing in those senior guys. I just nod. Want to defend my original vision, but can't. Because he's right. Maya stops by. Says, I'm thinking about leaving. My heart drops. Why? She says, I feel like I'm not growing fast enough. Like I'm always behind. I say, but you're learning so much from Jake and Lucas. She says, exactly. I'm learning, not leading. You hired me to be a lead engineer, but I was never ready for that. I think I need to go somewhere I can be a junior engineer and actually learn properly. I realize I set her up to fail. Gave her a title she wasn't ready for. Put pressure on her she couldn't handle. All because I wanted to prove women could lead. I say, I'm sorry. She says, it's okay. I learned a lot, just not the way you planned. That weekend, dinner with my co-founder, she knows everything. Says, you did what you thought was right. I say, I almost destroyed the company. She says, but you didn't. I say, only because I compromised everything I believed in. She says, maybe your beliefs needed compromising. I don't respond. Just push food around my plate. Monday morning, David's leaving, taking a job at another company. I ask why. He says, I've been doing support for 2 years. I'm an engineer. You never saw me as one because I didn't fit your narrative. I start to argue. He says, it's fine, I get it. Good luck with everything. Shakes my hand. Leaves. I watch him go. Realize he was qualified the whole time. I just refuse to see it. I pull up the Forbes article about me. She's building the future without men. Read through it. Every quote feels naive now. We don't need male engineers to succeed. Women are just as capable, if not more so. The only thing holding women back is men. I was so confident, so sure, so wrong. I think about rewriting the narrative, doing an interview about what I learned, about how ideology can't replace experience, about how diversity of thought matters more than diversity of gender, about how I almost failed because I refused to hire qualified people. But I know what would happen. I'd be labeled a traitor. Feminist groups would disown me. My TED Talk would be used as a cautionary tale. LinkedIn would roast me. Easier to just stay quiet. Board meeting, next quarter. Investor asks about team composition. I say we're focused on hiring the best talent regardless of background. He nods approvingly. Another investor says, what happened to the all-female engineering team vision? I pause. Say, we evolved our approach based on what the company needed. Corporate speak for I was wrong but can't admit it. Meeting ends. I sit in my car, stare at the steering wheel, think about Maya, Jordan, Priya, rocks. I failed them. Hired them for their gender, not their readiness. Put them in positions they weren't prepared for. Then blamed them when they struggled. I draft another LinkedIn post. Leadership is about putting ego aside and doing what's best for your team, even when it contradicts your beliefs. Stare at it. Add. Sometimes that means admitting you were wrong. Stare longer. Delete the whole thing. Post instead. Excited about Q3. Our team is stronger than ever. Get 1.9 thousand likes. Comments full of praise. Nobody knows. Late night. Office empty. I pull up the resumes I rejected. 40-plus qualified male engineers. Some with 20 years experience. I rejected them all. Hired 4 women with minimal experience instead. Told myself it was progress. Told myself it was justice. Told myself experience didn't matter. I was wrong. I think about the guy with 15 years embedded systems experience. The one I laughed about with my co-founder. Called him a probable mansplainer. Never even interviewed him. He could have prevented all of this. Jordan wouldn't have quit. Maya wouldn't be leaving. Priya wouldn't have broken down. We wouldn't have almost lost everything. But I was too busy proving a point. I opened my journal. Right. I built a company on the idea that women don't need men, but we did. Not because women aren't capable, but because I hired based on gender instead of readiness. I set my team up to fail. I almost destroyed everything we built, and I still can't admit it publicly. Close the journal. Sit in the dark. Next day, I see Jake teaching Maya. She's smiling, taking notes, learning more than she ever did when I was just telling her to trust herself. I realize mentorship matters. Experience matters. Readiness matters. Gender doesn't matter as much as I thought it did. I get invited to another conference. Decline. Can't give another speech about empowering women when I know I failed the women I hired. Organizer emails back. Is everything okay? I reply, just need to focus on the company. She says, understood. Let us know when you're ready to share your story again. I won't be. Sitting in my office, looking at the team. Jake, Lucas, Marcus teaching. Maya, rocks, Priya learning. It's working now, but it's not the vision I sold. Not the story I told. Not the future I promised. I think about all the women who looked up to me, who believed in the all-female engineering team, who thought I was proving something. I was, just not what I intended. I think about posting something honest, about how I learned that ideology can't replace experience, about how I put my team in impossible positions, about how I almost lost everything because I refused to hire qualified men, but I know I won't, because the cost of honesty is too high, and I'm not brave enough to pay it. So I just sit here, running a company that succeeded in spite of my vision, not because of it. Employing men I swore I didn't need. Watching women learn from the mentors I refused to hire. And pretending on LinkedIn that everything went according to plan. Turns out men with experience beat my ideology, and that sucks to admit. Sometimes you need experience more than ideology. Sometimes the best team isn't the one that proves your point. Maybe I'm just a failed feminist who couldn't deliver. Or maybe I finally learned what actually matters. Probably both. What do you guys think?